Carl, stop listening to the Kinks for a minute. Look over there. More cross-eyed people.
No, well, that's
Is that how your mind works?
In a way, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's when because I
Explains a
thought
lot.
It's great that he has to think about whole sentences.
because I thought that's weird, isn't it? Like, I didn't think that's weird, isn't it? And I thought I actually think in my accent. And then I thought, does Stephen Hawking, does he, when he's doing his maths and that, is he? I don't know where he's from, so I don't know what his accent would be like.
I think he's from Kent or Cambridge or Oxford. Or something.
Right. So
you think he might think in his
voice, in that voice,
computerised voice?
Just wondered.
Had lunch inside today due to shite weather. Sat next to an old fella. Old men's ears and noses carry on growing as they get older. Suzanne noticed his fingers were fat too. Maybe they continue to grow. Suzanne didn't laugh when I said her arse had the same problem. Day 3, cloudy start to the day. Had pie and chips in a cafe. Had a bit of an argument with Suzanne because I thought it was daft that we were paying for food when we were on an all-inclusive holiday. Changed my mind when I saw they sold pie though. The cafe was called Tattoos. The fellow who owned it didn't have any tattoos. But we never saw his wife.
Oh, brilliant.
Had a drink in a bar. Everyone sat and watched one of the local cats lick its bollocks.
It's the greatest holiday in the world. That's the entertainment in that town.
Went back to the hotel and had a sleep before tea. I love the fact you're moaning about old people, but you're just as bad.
He done nothing so far.
He's done nothing, he's got a hip.
Oh, God.
Woke up to news about ducks being badly treated. There was a really ugly one with bent legs.
I'm gonna die. Why does he write this down? Oh, God. Oh.
There is a fat bloke from Bolton who was in the pool as I write this. He's got a big tattoo on his back, but I can't work out what it is. ... He just got out of the pool and burped. Just felt like you had to keep us abreast of that.
Everything's in the diary. I just seen it get to the point where you're going, breathed in,
Yeah.
breathed out again.
There was a big fat fella in the sea who kept his t-shirt on. If you're big and fat, is there more chance of you getting burnt because there's more of you on show? I asked Suzanne and she said she didn't know in that sort of not listening kind of way. I wanted to hang about to see if the fat bloke was going to get in the kayak, but Suzanne said we had to head back. Just let him waiting to see if he's going to capsize. We got home today, so we got up early to get the last bit of cloud.
No, it's just that it wasn't. It's not that sunny all the time. I mean, I was sat in weather that if it was like that here, there's no way I'd be sat in the garden. But because you're on holiday, it's like, well, we've got to sit in it. Put your coat on.
So are you going to continue to write this diary? Every single day?
It's amazing. Keep this diary up. It's amazing.
No, I will keep it up, because what I find as well is, I think earlier on before I went away, I think I did learn something, and because I wrote it down, I remembered it a bit better. So
What was that?
I just was thinking then, I forgot it now, but but I remembered looking back at it and not having to read it all, because I remembered the end of it before I read it, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if you've enjoyed the Diary of Carl Pilkington, more next week, I hope. Another week's worth. That's amazing. I'm going to try and get that published. We'll put the odd page up on the web. Go to rickygervais.com. Don't forget to register there.
Guardian Unlimited.
Rick, who hosts this podcast?
The guys at Positive Internet. Why?
No, I know you're a big fan of those guys.
Yeah, because they're brilliant.
Well, yeah, they are, and they tell you they're working overtime. Because we've had an email from Jake, who's the director at Positive Internet, and apparently he's been in touch with the editor of the Guinness World Records book.
All right.
And he's hoping to see if we can get this podcast in the Guinness World Record breaking section, or the podcast World Record breaking section, or whatever they call it. I don't know exactly what record we'd have broken. I assume it's just sheer number of listeners, is it? Or
yeah,
being the number one?
it's the number one podcast, and it's the biggest downloaded show ever at the moment.
Right.
I think that's because people have only had podcasts for a couple of years.
Yes, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when the next issue comes out. I guess it's sort of December time.
I used to get the Guinness Book of Records every year. I love it.
I've never understood why it was such a big seller. I mean, presumably, who's excited to find out whether, I don't know, a man that can balance 3 egg cups on his head has beaten the record?
Well, they're real records as well, obviously. I used to go straight for that. I really loved the sort of animals, fastest, strongest, all that sort of thing, biggest.
But aren't they the same every year?
Well, no, they do change, and obviously there's new entries to keep it exciting. But what annoys me is that it looks like anyone can get in if you're willing to do something that no one else will bother with.
Yeah.
I did one on Big Brother where it was the stacking sugar cubes, and I was thinking, well, no one's going to bother beating that. No. There's people that walk along with a milk bottle on their head. And no one's going, I'm a bit jealous of Bill. Why? He's broken the record. What? For walking along with a milk bottle on his head? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into training tomorrow. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I do like the real ones. There was one in there I got on a couple of years ago, and it was about disasters. And there was one where there was some big ornamental incense burners at this thing in I think Thailand or Korea or somewhere, and they fell over. And they killed 7 of the congregation, and the headline was "Biggest Joss Stick Disaster." Now again, there's no one trying to beat that. There's no one going, we need 8.
Yeah.
We need 8 people. We're going for it tonight. What do I have to do? You have to stand quite near those big joss sticks. Okay.
And what record am I breaking again?
We'll tell you after. Also, I think a lot of people waste their energy on this because there's one guy in there that can do the 100 metres in 11 seconds running backwards, and I want to say to him, turn round, because I think you'd be fast forwards. If you'd have only from the age of 10, sort of, you might be, one of the fastest runners in the world.
Because you're never going to be considered one of the great athletes for doing it
no
backwards.
one knows about him. That's not going to ever be an Olympic sport, running backwards, or and now the 100 metres. Oh. One of them's putting a milk bottle on his head.
yeah. This is one to watch. There was a guy in there. I've always been fascinated by the guy. He had the world's longest fingernails, and they were truly extraordinary. And they went out and they started to curl around, obviously. And in the end, they almost looked like sort of there was a big spiral of gnarled old fingernail. But I just thought it just seemed like such a terrible affliction, really, to be walking around. With these giant fingernails. So much you can't do. Just missing out on. Jeff, you coming bowling? I can. Just so many different things that you miss out on. I've never quite understood who's willing to have this eat into their life. It's going to take over their whole life just so they can have their photo in this book. It seems a very bizarre impulse. Carl, have you ever been tempted by any world-breaking attempts? Do you find them fascinating or futile?
I mean, you don't get paid or anything, do you?
No. They do it for the pride.
But say like the fella who can run with a milk bottle, could he get a milk round? Do you know what I mean? I can understand that if you can use the skill, but like you say, if it's getting in the way of your life and that, then what's the point?
There was a kid at school who said, I'm in the Guinness Book of Records. And I went, oh yeah. He said, no, I am. And he brought it in, and now I don't know if this is a valid claim. He claimed to have been in the audience for what in this particular edition was labelled, the largest audience ever for a sporting event, some giant Super Bowl game in America. And he claimed to have been in the audience. Now, do you think he deserves to say he's in the Guinness Book of Records?
Sort of. I think that's a lot. As it was the largest audience ever, I think a lot of people can claim that one. I mean,
if he wanted to get a name check on doing that, he would have been best saying, I was sat in the audience in a bath of beans. Because then that would add to it, and you get a little, they'd have you in the picture, wouldn't they? So,
he's Mr.
Fit that way. Yeah.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Harry from Canterbury wants to know whether any of us have ever had any cruel nicknames. He claims that he's quite tall and rather hirsute. And he says he's often called Lurch or Wolfie. He's always thought that Carl looks a bit like Mr. Potato Head.
No, there's no potato that round, but I suppose you could fashion a potato to be that round. Maybe we could, if anyone can carve a potato into the roundest head ever, pop a couple of eyes on it.
Make it look as much like Carl as possible.
Exactly.
But any nicknames? Did you ever have a nickname, Rick?
No, mine was boring. I didn't have any. It was just around the name, like Jerv or something like that. No, I didn't have nicknames.
I always wanted a nickname. I just thought it was quite cool for some reason, particularly because gangsters always seem to have nicknames.
Lefty.
Fingers. Lefty, Scarface.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I thought, because no one was giving me a nickname at school, it was kind of annoying, or certainly not to my face, that I decided to just come up with one. Yeah. And so I remember I was at lunch once, and I just said to my mate Phil.
How old were you?
12, 13.
Brilliant.
I just said to him, Phil, don't know if you know, mate, but people aren't calling me Steve anymore. Everyone's calling me Spud now. Now I don't know why I thought Spud. It's weird. We should talk about Mr. Potato. I don't know why I thought Spud was a cool nickname. I just sort of, I think
It's a grown-up name, though, isn't it?
and it's also because I think it sounded like it was probably either something that you'd find in one of those kids' books, like the Famous Five, or like the Bash Street Kids. There'd be Spud, and I always imagine with Spud, he's not the leader of the gang, but he's a reliable member.
I think
You know what I mean?
Spud is the biggest lorry driver in one particular sort of car park.
Yeah.
And here comes Spud.
Yeah.
And he gets out, alright boys, and he's big and massive, and Spud can eat 2 breakfasts.
Exactly, yeah. But I just, in my mind, it was, that I would be one day part of a gang, and it's, I'm Pinky, this is Jojo, and the tall guy Spud.
And you
it
catch on,
never
did it?
really caught. And he just went, oh yeah, right. And no one started, and I was hoping he'd go, everyone's calling Steve Spud.
Yeah.
But of course-
hey Spud, the first time I said Spud, you go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be really proud, wouldn't you?
But I think that it kind of, actually in a way, it probably revealed that I just was probably not in people's thoughts enough to sort of need to be a real player in the
I
school.
think you should have gone something more memorable. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, goggle-eyed freak or anything.
Yeah, what?
No, just...
Well, no, it's good advice, Fatty. fatty pot
That's
belly.
the problem. I wasn't fat at school, and I suppose Carl didn't have a round bald head at school, did you?
No.
No.
Did you have a nickname?
Not really. I mean, there was a lot of people on the estate that I grew up on. Nicknames are big things on estates and that.
Yeah.
A lot of my dad's mates, right? What their nicknames did was tell you about them. Do you know how I said about the Elephant Man's a good name?
Yeah.
Because, like, you know what you're going to get. If someone said, Elephant Man's popping round in a bit, it wouldn't be a shock when he walked in.
Yeah.
Right? So it worked in that sort of thing. So there was John the Screw, right?
John the Screw?
Yeah.
He had sex a lot, or he worked in a prison?
No, he had a DIY shop. so you had him, right? There was Fred the Veg,
Yeah.
which is
I assume it's because he was at the same IQ as you.
Or he was in a coma.
Yeah.
Right.
there was my uncle Tattoo Stan.
All right.
Yeah, he had like loads of tattoos that he'd just done himself.
Oh my
Right.
God.
The problem was, because he did his tattoos himself, the ones on his left arm were really good because he was right-handed. On his right arm, rubbish. Right? So there was him,
Great.
and there was Jimmy the Hat.
Jimmy the Hat.
Yeah.
Did
And
he
that-
always wear a hat?
No, he didn't. That was the point there. That he never wore a hat.
That's amazing. Brilliant. How can you pick up on someone never wearing a hat? How would you ever notice? I'll tell you what, I've noticed something about Jimmy. What?
Go on.
He doesn't wear a hat. why was he not called Jimmy the Parrot? Because he never carries a parrot.
No, but that's just the way. I mean, that's how they work in it. I mean,
Here comes Jimmy Three Legs. Why'd you call him that? He hasn't got 3 legs.
I didn't really have one apart from like I had a CB. Like when you'd go on a CB radio and have a chat to people.
Oh, this was a craze in the was it late 70s, early 80s?
Sort of early 80s.
And it was just short band radio, wasn't it? Everyone had these little handsets and they'd speak to each other in the sort of local area.
Yeah, it was mainly. I think it started off with like
Lorry
truckers
drivers,
and
isn't it? Yeah, truckers, yeah, because there was that thing from like about 1977.
Convoy.
It was Convoy, yeah.
Yeah, so I had one of them, and my handle. I had 2
Handle
different names.
is your nickname. Your
Yeah,
name.
there's loads of code stuff.
Yeah.
I had a couple. I had there was Pilkey 01, because
Right.
like I said, there's a lot of Pilkingtons and that in Manchester. So I just thought, give it a number. If someone wants Pilkey 02, it's open. Do you know what I mean? They can have it. And then
That is people scrabbling. I want a Pilkey one.
and then because I did boxing and that,
Well, you did it once.
Yeah.
I'd Boxer Boy, because I thought that's quite a good image as well. That's kind of like people going, oh, don't mess with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he asks what your handle is, tell him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Boxer Boy and that.
Yeah.
So just had them 2, and I used to just go on there and.
Pointless. What is the point of this?
Well, you just meet people, don't you?
And you
So-
don't meet people. You say, "What's your handle?" You go, "Box Boy." What's yours? Rubber duck. All right, cheers.
No,
That's
but
ridiculous.
then you'll say like, then you go, what's your 20?
What's that mean?
That's where are you?
Well, why don't you say, "Where are you?"
Because just in case there's someone who's listening in who you hear about this all the time, don't you? People listening, jotting stuff down.
Oh, right. So, just in case someone in the world doesn't know what handle means, they're out of the loop. They're out of the loop.
It's not a difficult code to crack, is it? If
Yeah.
you're trying to track someone.
It's hardly the head of the mafia talking to each other because the FBI are on the wire. It's ridiculous. Like, I go, oh, he keeps saying that, what's your handle? And they come back with something else. I can't work out what's going on.
No, it's like anything, isn't it? That's what codes are all about, isn't it? You set them up and that.
Go on, and tell me the code then.
Reveal at long last to the world what
Yeah.
these codes are.
Right, so
Yeah.
what's your 20? Where are you?
This is better than the Enigma.
Yeah.
Right, now here we go.
Right.
How many candles are you burning?
Does that mean how big's your car or something like that? Horsepower or something?
See? No, that's
Oh,
how old
what
are you?
time is it?
No, how old are you?
What hour do you? Okay.
Right.
Right.
How many candles are you burning, of course?
Yeah.
So what's the answer come back?
You go,
I'm 15.
14.
Brilliant. That code, there's no one going to work that out. There is no one going to work that one out.
So let's just play through this conversation. Give us an example of how it worked.
Right, so you turn it on and that, and you start off, and there was something that you said at the start, like
Hello.
just you
Breaker.
yeah, breaker, do your copy or whatever.
Yeah.
Then someone will go,
What does
yeah,
copy mean?
No,
His name
I want
does.
to hear because I want to hear the fascinating conversations that Carl must have had.
Yeah.
and you go, alright, it's Boxer Boy, yeah.
What's
He
your
goes,
20?
What's your 20? And you go, well, just I'm in Manchester.
In the flat.
Oh, right.
And they go, right, yeah. How many candles are you burning?
Mm.
You go, oh, I'm 13.
Oh.
So
That's the end, is it?
then you might sort of say what was it? It was something like what am I burning? Right?
Using burning again.
Confusing, but go on, yeah. What am I burning? The bacon, because I'm busy talking to you twat.
That's like what's my power? What strength am I coming in at?
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can tell if they're quite close to you. So if you're
Yeah.
getting someone burning a 1,
We've told them. We said, wait, what's your 20? You go, I'm in Macclesfield Street.
Yeah, but
oh,
then-
right.
but then you
Wonder
go-
where they are. We've just told you. Wonder how far away they are.
but then you go, oh, that's interesting because you're burning, burning 3. I don't normally get a 3.
This is the least interesting hobby
Oh, do you know what
I ever do.
I wish you'd have kept a diary of this, because this has been fascinating.
Now and again, someone will come in and go side on, right?
What's that mean?
And that means like there's someone sat there listening into this
Ooh.
chat and going, this sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
And they want to join in, so they sort of go side on, you go side on, bring it in, right? And they go, alright.
How many candles are you burning?
Yeah. What's your 20?
That's round again.
Yeah.
See you later. What's your 20? How many candles are you burning?
Oh.
I mean, it seems to me that what you should have done is made a note the first time, so that when you then speak to them again, you don't need to ask them those questions. Can I just confirm that you're burning 15? Single.
Okay. I'm gonna do a really good one.
Okay, good.
Oh, chimpanzee! That monkey news! Yeah.
Right, do you know it's nearly time for the Winter Olympics again?
Okay.
Is it? Okay.
They sort of come round every 4 years.
Is it this year? Is it?
Yeah. And the last one that happened,
4 years ago, yeah.
there was a bit of an incident.
Oh, no.
Oh well, I'd know about this then because it would be
Well, it'd be
Well-
big news because it's a well-known...
televised as well.
Yeah.
So,
Do you remember any winners that were monkeys? In any of the
No,
tournaments?
of course
no,
not.
No.
So-
yeah.
it's
anyway-
not going to be that because it wouldn't be true. Go
Oh,
on.
yeah.
So anyway, one of the popular events, bobsleigh.
Okay, right.
You know it works.
Well, you
It's
need
like a
4 men.
sleigh.
Is it 4 men or 5
4 men.
It's 4. So it's definitely 4 men that you need
Need
on
4
a
men.
team.
Is it and two? And there's 2 team bobsleigh as
But
well.
they're always men. Is that right, Rick?
Well, yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
humans.
Well, it has to be humans.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
okay.
Winter Olympics for.
Yeah. So just clarify with the Winter Olympics, you can't have any animals taking part.
No, and also, well, no, because they wouldn't be allowed. And 2, there's no way they could disguise it because not only would they see it straight away, right, but they have blood tests
Right, okay. So
which would show up.
so they definitely know if it was
They have
any
blood
kind of
tests.
non-human.
It's impossible. It would be literally impossible to have anything other than a human
Taking
involved
part.
in a bobsleigh team.
Fine. Okay. So carry on.
So anyway, this country, I don't want to name them because they try to shake off this sort of, this bad news.
Oh yeah, and you don't know.
And
Because
it
it's not
didn't
true. Yeah.
So anyway, the country was doing really well in the qualifying stages.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem was there was like 2 members
Mm.
who were getting all like the press and stuff,
Oh right, yeah.
and one of them never got a look in. Right?
How tall was he?
Anyway, so this one member was getting fed up because the other two were getting all the press and what have you. So he said, I'm not happy with this.
Yeah.
I'm jacking it in. So they were like, you're joking, we've qualified, we're getting into like the main race and everything. You can't leave us now. And he said, well, you could do it all on your own before, you know, the way you were acting and that, you didn't need me, so I'm going. So they were like, oh.
Well, they need to replace him because there's a certain amount of people needed.
So anyway,